I bought my first rental with only $2,000 down, and today we're going to break down exactly how I did that, so hopefully you can take this strategy and implement it into your business. Now, when I was just getting started in this industry nearly 5 years ago, I was dead broke and living paycheck to paycheck, and I had no idea how I was going to get my first deal. But I was determined that I was going to make it in this industry no matter what it took. And so, like many of you who probably clicked on this video, I was trying to figure out how I could get my first deal with no money. So I'm on YouTube University studying everything I could about real estate and how to get into real estate with little to no money. Now, one thing I learned early on in this business is you gotta have one of two things in order to get leads. You either gotta have money that you're gonna trade to buy those leads, or you gotta have time that you're gonna trade to find those leads. I was dead broke, so I had no choice but to choose the latter. Now, early on, I mainly used two strategies in order to try to find deals. Number one was driving for dollars. And that's basically where you're gonna get in your car, drive around town, and you're looking for distressed property. We're talking overgrown grass, boarded up windows, properties that look vacant, look like they've been vacant for years. The bushes, the hedges are real high. These types of properties are the properties you're looking for. And then you're gonna go back and you're gonna skip trace these. Now, skip tracing costs money, usually if you're doing it in bulk. But again, you're not doing it in, well, I'm broke first off, and you're also not doing it in bulk when you're driving around for dollars because you're not getting a ton of leads. It takes a while to drive around and find these properties. So when you go back, you're gonna go in and go under truepeoplesearch.com. You can still use that today, and you're gonna go to reverse address lookup. And you're gonna type in all the addresses of the properties that you wrote down while you were out driving for dollars. And then you're gonna call these people, and I used my cell phone because I didn't wanna pay, or did I have the money to pay for a phone service. So you're gonna call these people, reach out to them, and here, again, I'm trying to buy these properties with no money, so I'm trying to buy them creatively, which we'll get to that in a minute. Now, the second lead source that I went after was for sale by owners, what we call FSBOs in the industry. Now, this is basically where people go on sites such as Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, and they're trying to sell their house without an agent. Now, these people will have their telephone number up there, and usually they'll have pictures of their property and some information about their property. So you're gonna reach out to them, call them, and try to get a deal. Now, in hindsight, I should have went after these deals trying to get a discount and then wholesaling them off to another investor, which is actually the business strategy that I predominantly use now. But back then, I was dead set and focused on trying to build my rental portfolio. So I was going after these deals, these for sale by owners, and also these driving for dollar deals, and I was trying to get them to sell me their house on terms. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about terms back then, such as subject to. I wasn't very familiar with, and it seemed very complicated, and which there is a lot of steps in there that can easily mess up a deal and take a while to explain to a seller. So I went with lease option to buy. It's basically where you're gonna lease the property with the option to buy for a certain amount of years. And that's how I actually found my first property, was a for sale by owner who really wanted $4,200 in order to sell his property. Well, I didn't have $4,200. I only had $0 at that time, but I told him if he could give me 30 days, I would give him $2,000. And then if he gave me an additional 30 days, I would give him the other $2,200. So I bought the property for $2,000 down. I told him that I'd give him the other $2,200 within 30 days. And I went out there and marketed it and found a buyer on Zillow, marketed it with rent to own on Zillow, and I found me a buyer who came in and brought $5,000 down. So they gave me $5,000. I then gave the seller the other $2,200 that I owed him. And so right now on this property, I was $4,200 that I gave to the seller, and I got $5,000 from my buyer. I ended up cash flowing on this property roughly around 250 bucks a month back then. I still own that property today. I later transitioned this property into a subject to deal where I now have the deed, and I actually now cash flow on this property about $750 a month. So that was how I got started in real estate. But there's many ways that you can get started in real estate with little to no money, but you have to remember that you're going to have to trade time if you don't have money. Now, as you get money and get some deals under your belt, then you can start to trade money to get these leads and start to scale your business. But in the beginning, if you're broke, you have no choice but to trade time for the deal. Now, if I could go back and do it all over again, what would I change? Well, I would have jumped straight into wholesaling. Wholesaling is the fastest way to put large amounts of cash into your bank account so that you can then go on and do whatever avenue of real estate you desire. The other thing is, I would have stayed away from creative real estate, at least in the beginning. I've used creative real estate a lot, and I used it way more in the beginning, but it's a slower process, and it's not gonna put you large amounts of cash in your bank account, which is what you need if you're broke and just getting started. Now, the biggest thing I learned throughout my journey, and I hope that you take away from this, is you can get your first deal with no money. As long as you're willing to put in the work and put in the effort and you have persistence, you will get that first deal. Now, if you like this video and you want to steal one of my favorite sales tactics in order to get a seller to drop their price $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, then watch this video right here.